amazingly, we're having this big premiere right in the centre of London, Leicester Square, which is where all the big premieres take place. And they close the whole square down, and all the public are around looking to see what's going on. It's very exciting. It's a beautiful evening. It's a beautiful sunny evening. So, this is kind of a blessing, but I have to say making the film was a blessing as well. There's a mystery about what Elizabeth did in her professional life, but we definitely get the feeling it was very high-powered, somewhat secret, maybe to do with MI5, MI6, but she is now retired, and it's an interesting thought of what happens to those sorts of people with that sort of experience, that sort of courage, that sort of history. What happens when they retire? How do they dissipate that energy that they've been using throughout their whole life? And so that's sort of very much where we find Elizabeth. Great to have an American do such a very British subject, because you have an objective eye on it, and he understood the eccentricity, if you like, of the Englishness of the material, but also to have a director who is so experienced at just the pure craft of making a film. It was so fun. I mean, we're all of an age, but also of an experience. All of us have done theatre, and I think one of the reasons we bonded so well on the film was because of the theatre work we've done. That's a collaboration, and we all understood that. So it was a beautiful collaboration. I hope people just enjoy it on the simple, visceral level of enjoying a good movie. Certainly it's got comedy in it. It's got an undercurrent of seriousness as well. But I hope also it makes people, younger generation, appreciate how very proactive the older generation could be.
Ibrahim is a psychiatrist. I think it would be a misnomer to call him a retired psychiatrist, because that forensic and brilliant mind of his, analytical mind, has never left him. So he's a wonderful member of the Murders Club, because he quietly observes everything. He's a great listener, and he's a great watcher. I think it would be probably like being part of a great Mozart quartet. And we each had and remained faithful to our tone and to our instrument. The thing about acting so closely with other actors is you mustn't pick up their tone. You have to stay your individual selves. And as an individual self, the four of us made up that quartet, and that was a joy. Chris loves English film. One of his favorite English films is Great Expectations, and he imbued the whole process with his love for English films, British films. So it's a joy. The film is so layered, and the film is about life. And I think thanks to Chris Columbus and the writer, it's beautifully observed. So I think each member of the audience will take something different away from it, but I think it's going to be a life-enhancing experience for everybody.
She's the new girl in the whole team, and so she has to spend a long time being approved of, or trying to join and getting their approval. But she's very enthusiastic, and I think you realise that at the beginning of the story she's had a huge shift. She's recently widowed, I think, and so her whole life has turned upside down. Her daughter doesn't really approve, so she has to work quite hard, but is thrilled to have found new friends. It's wonderful that we're a foursome. We're not just by ourselves. And mostly it was every day we were all on set together. So gradually, as I began to be a member of the club, that you saw that happening on camera, really, which was great. He is a total joy from beginning to end. He's enthusiastic and encouraging. What more do you want, really? It doesn't shy away from the fact that, it does deal with, older years and illness and maybe Alzheimer's and the challenges that come with old age. But I would say that there's an underlying joy. No matter what your age is, if you keep your mind alert, you can keep going and don't stop. I just saw an interview of an older lady in New York. She was given advice when she was very young. She said, when you get older, people will say, take it easy. Don't. Take it hard. I love that.
I play Donna de Freitas, who is a detective who's come in from London, who is frustrated with her lack of work and where she's placed in the pecking order, and she gets brought into the Thursday Murder Club to help, and she finds her community there. The biggest thing for me was that I was watching people who've been doing it for decades who are still so enthusiastic and joyful about what they do. They don't have to work, do you know what I mean? These are legends, and yet they still do. So I was really watching them for how they approach the day and their characters, and I was just like, wow, I want to be like them when I'm their age. It's just really heartwarming. It's a similar thing to Donna in the Thursday Murder Club. It's a different age, different background, and yet finding friendship within that and teamwork within that. I think the film on a whole is so warm. It's a mixture of watching these titans of the screen tackle something that is like you say, both funny and heartwarming and thrilling, but also just oh man, it's just a classic. And I think also it caught the story, the books themselves caught the imagination of people for a reason. And the biggest takeaway is life doesn't end at a certain age. It doesn't end at retirement. It doesn't age at 70. It doesn't stop, So it's inspiring, I think, ultimately, and it's heartwarming.
I worked with all of them before, so that means that there's a great camaraderie that you find because everybody's been around the block so many times. So that was a real pleasure. Because the books have been such global bestsellers, it's an amazing thing to be a part of this thing. I'd hoped to work with him, all these years. It was all the movies that I'd seen that he made. So I was thrilled when I finally got a call to say, right, you've finally done it.
I'm so excited because I've seen it a couple of times now, and I feel like it's going to be really hard for people not to like this film. And if they do, I have serious doubts about those people. It's so joyful. It's such an amazing cast, and the story's great, obviously. I just can't wait for people to see it. It's really, really funny, but it's got so much heart, and it really kind of surprises you at times about how emotional it is. But I think more than that, at this time in the world, and the world the way it is, I think we need films like this to make people feel a bit better about themselves and realise that human beings can be quite nice to each other sometimes. It was bonkers. I couldn't believe I was actually working with these people. I kept having to pinch myself. I kept staring at Piers all the time because he's so attractive. And Dame Helen, Ben, I kept pinching myself. Honestly, it was crazy. He's just wonderful. He puts you at such ease, and then it just lets you play. I think half the trick of being a great director is casting well, and he just got such an amazing cast together. And he just let us have our little playground and just guided us gently. But he's just wonderful. He's such a nice man. I play Jason Ritchie, who is the son of Ron Ritchie, played by Piers. Jason was a world championship boxer and then got an injury and then basically found himself doing the reality TV circuit. So he's a bit of a minor celebrity, which was kind of weird actually, because I was meant to be the celebrity, and every time I went onto set I was having the opposite experience inside. But yeah, it was fun. And he gets sort of caught up in the murder investigation, but his dad saves the day.
I play DCI Chris Hudson, who's the, believe it or not, the detective which is brought into, there's a murder which happens in Cooper's Chase, the retirement home, and he comes in to investigate the case, and little does he know that the Thursday Murder Club themselves are pulling the strings behind the scenes. So he gets, how can we put it, rather frustrated by them meddling in police affairs. So there's a great journey with it. She's a wonderfully talented actor, incredibly generous. And, you know, Chris and Donna they're kind of like an odd couple, you know what I mean? So she's from the Metropolitan Police. My guy's a kind of country cop. The most exciting thing that happens normally is there's a lost cat up a tree. So when there's a real murder takes place, Donna really comes in and helps Chris with the investigation. Work alongside those acting heroes, it forced you to raise your game. So, yeah, it was, I mean, look, there's obviously other books in the series, so fingers crossed we get to, you know, develop the characters. We had the legendary Chris Columbus, you know. He was so welcoming. Honestly, he was the most collaborative, welcoming director. And he would say to me, look, Danny, if you've read a line in a book, if there's a moment in the book that you want to try and incorporate into the performance, we can definitely do it. So I was just coming in with monologues. And he was just up for anything. He made me want to be as creative and inventive as possible. And that's totally what you want. And, you know, you look at his track record, it was, if you look at the films he's written and directed, you'd never come out your trailer. So I just relished it. These are the sort of people you want to work with.
All I can tell you about my character is he's called John, and if I tell you anything else, I have to kill you. The great thing about it, from my point of view, I worked with almost everyone before. Some of them twice. I worked with Sir Ben twice too. I'd known Helen Mirren all my life. It was just great being together with these people again. It's a great group of talents.